Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching today and spending some time with me. I wanted to do this quick interview with Christine Beckwith. Depending on when you see this, you may have already read our new case study that kind of is talking about positioning yourself for the future as a mortgage originator. We consider our community at Vonk Digital the career mortgage originator. So that's you. And in this case study, one of the things I highlight, it's a very tactical and goes into things you can actually do moving forward. And one of the things I highlight is getting an accountability partner and a coach. And I think if you look at most of the top 100 originators in the country, among other things that they're doing, having that coach, a professional coach, keep them accountable and keep them growing moving forward is one of the things in their kind of arsenal. So rather than me as a marketing professional discuss this, I thought, why not bring on one of the industry's top influencers, podcast hosts, and owner, president, and COO of 2020 Vision for Success Coaching, and get her take on it. So you're here now with Christine Beckwith. Christine, welcome. Thanks for taking some time with me.
Yay. Thanks for having me. I'm really glad to be here.
And just before I'd like to have you tell, just give a quick background. I would be shocked if most people that are going to be watching this through our community don't know who you are, whether it's through the podcast, some of your books like this.
Yay. Love that.
Or one of the many stages that you've been on, obviously, across the country. Before we started recording, we were talking about how Christine travels so much. She's almost like you're almost like a recovering
yeah,
jet setter.
It is. It's a very odd time too. Longest time at home and not traveling, and so many silver linings, and I'm appreciative, of course. So yeah, I mean, my history is through sales and originations. I had a very short, small stint during college where in fact I was processing and assisting a loan originator. The story goes that I went to school for sports medicine and health, and I became an aerobics instructor, and I was assisting an LO at a credit union, and I got the bug, and then I became an LO. And I originated for many years, and then I got promoted to my own branch manager position, recruited for the first time in my late 20s, got like 10 people that I convinced to come do something with me and originate. And we became this like mighty little force within this national company that would buy us. And we rose through the ranks to the top of 210 branches in the top 5. And so got a little bit of early management notoriety, just really competitive group. And I was originating at the time as well. I had 2 assistant junior LOs working with me. So we were feeding about a 20 to 25 unit a month production as an originator. And I was in Worcester, Massachusetts. So my average loan size at that time, I don't know if it's relative, but like 325, 350. So really great market.
Yep.
And then I got promoted to district management, and my team would become one of 8 branches I would manage in that role in the Northeast, in the New England market area. And at the time, that district was in last place in the country. And I took that district over and slowly pushed them up. And within 16 months, they became the top market area district in the country. And then I got promoted to regional and then senior vice presidency. So my last 3 years at that 12-year job with H&R Block Mortgage was as the senior vice president over 900 LOs and 210 branches. And then we imploded with the rest of the mortgage industry. And I did a restart and went to a boutique in Boston with about 50 LOs. Got a call from Joe Pinabianco at Annie Mac Home Mortgage. He had Village Home Mortgage, and he purchased. I helped him broker probably the biggest sale I made in my career, which was to be his eyes and ears to broker a sale of a mortgage company to him. And then we started over, and the next 12 years would become my journey there. And I would go from that branch manager back at ground zero, back up to regional, national, then vice president of sales. And in 2018, the whole time, by the way, telling him, I'm going to go build a coaching company. I'm going to go build, from the first steak dinner we had in the very beginning, he asked me, what do I want to be in the future of my life? And I said, I want to be a coach, and I
Did
want
you
to own a
really?
coaching company. Yes,
That's cool.
2007. I knew. And I had a website called 2020 Vision for Success Coaching that was being used primarily to vet my speaking and my writing,
Mm-hmm.
which I had a passion for. So that's it. That brings you all the way to me starting this company a couple of years ago, and taking that, scary walk across the bridge to true self employment. And now I'm here, and we're thriving and growing, and we have big plans for the future, and we're on target with our own business plans, and
Yep.
it's fun.
Yeah, I think when I look at, there are great coaches in this industry, you being one of them. But I think one really special thing about you is, maybe once we talk about your program in a little bit, later on we can get into some of the stuff that I really like about it. I think is unique, but I think it's important that you've actually been in the trenches and been in the game, as an originator, as a manager, growing different markets. And, me being in the mortgage industry as a lender and a broker for 15 years, like, those are the type of people I would seek out for help. Is, you always want to surround yourself with people that are better than you or have been there before. And so I think it's important when people, decide if you're going to get into get a coach, is like, and answer that question, like, should I do that? Once you've overcome that hurdle, it's like, you really should pick somebody that's been there before.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And I'll add that I hired all the great giant coaches we see in the industry over 2 decades for myself, for the organizations I work for my sales teams. I brought them in as speakers. I believe in that philosophy. I'm not a hater of my competition. There's a lot of, like everything in the world, in every
Mm-hmm.
position in the world, there are that group of people that hate on the same people that are doing the same thing that we're doing, which is an interesting philosophy. I could dissect that a little bit from an emotional intelligence standpoint, but I truly, genuinely have admiration for anyone in this industry. I have a coach myself. I spend about 6 hours a month on my own self-development. And it's way more than 6 hours. I spend 6 hours with my coach. And then beyond that, I'm reading, I'm watching, I'm attending events in the audience.
Yeah.
And still learning. So I just have an appetite for education. And I just think it's a philosophy. It's the same thing. Why do athletes get special coaches? Why does the Tom Brady's of the world, this probably won't do me any good on a national call to mention him from New England, but I will as my example. Why anyone? I mean, Derek Jeter, why did he get a special teams coach to help him? Why did Tiger Woods? Why does any athlete that's phenomenal at what they do ask to be pushed beyond their own boundaries? The Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, what is it? The Seth Currys. I mean, there's so many people, and the philosophy is simple, and that is just those people want to see their boundaries. They want to see how far they can go.
Yeah.
And anyways, I think it's a community of like-minded thinking in that way.
But don't you think too, like, because I was trying to think back to when I first started, and it seemed like a lot of the coaching options, not good or bad, just there was almost like the same message. And it seems like you've shifted now to, you can really kind of backfill based on your personality. You can find people that more identify with how you want to originate, and a communication style. So I think like the more options that are becoming a different experience is a win for an originator today, where 15, kind of like you get.
Yes, I don't want to interrupt you. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all.
Yeah, no, I think so. I'm strategic. I'm just going to come right out with it. I'm strategic. I'm analytical. And so the entire time that when I was a first originator and I didn't know what I was doing, I went to the top producers and I said, how do you do what you're doing? I wanted to learn. I teach now in my Blueprint for Success, which is 9 key points philosophically in building a business plan, my business plan that is taught at the school, is, truly about, there's 3 measurements to success that you do monthly as an originator.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to give them all away, but one of them is measuring the top performer on your team, because we tend to steer away from a internal belief that we can do. There's a human emotional facet to our disbelief that we can do what the top person is doing, because it almost seems unreal, like that athlete that can just do so much better than everybody else. But what they don't realize is that that is not always a natural gift. Top salespeople have traits, yes, that might be innate, but there's a lot of practice skill, and there's a lot of practice that goes into, those things. So this is what I'm going to tell you about when I built the coaching company. I literally watched as a student quietly for 2 decades what the other coaches did. And of course, everybody has an opinion. I would be impressed. I always feel like when you're learning something, if you're watching something, there should be 3 things happening when you're learning. Number 1, you should have affirming education that tells you you're doing the right things. If you sit somewhere and listen to a great speaker and they make you feel confident about the path you're already on because you're shaking your head in agreement and you're doing a lot of the things they're doing, then good for you, because that sounds like you're probably doing a lot of things right. But you should also have some things that remind you of things you used to do that you got away from that were probably good that you've let go of. So education should both be affirming, reminding, and then finally it should be thought-provoking, in that there's areas that you aren't doing it, and that person, that teacher, makes you open your mind. And so looking at, my competition, I felt like it was literally most people, coaches have a mantra, they have a culture, they have a style, they have a voice, and then they have a product, they have worksheets and workbooks and, things that they're doing. But, I also looked long-term. If I'm going to build a business, where is the runoff? When I was an executive, I was always trying to beat the odds of attrition. Our industry had high turnover, 45% annualized turnover in the hiring pools. I studied companies like Guaranteed Rate, Movement Mortgage, Loan Depot. Like, I studied where their runoff was. Where did they fall down? And I'm not going to give away where they are, but I learned where that was. And when I was competing to recruit, I would notice that, there was certain things offered to the LO over there at that company. And maybe, they got a guarantee for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, they couldn't sustain that income on the natural sales of their compensation. And that would tell me that there wasn't enough value or tools or ramp up plan in place, because somebody shouldn't fall off a cliff at the end of 6 months.
Right.
So I did the same thing with the coaching. Like, our systems here, and we'll get into it, really, and not to sound spammy, but I don't believe every person's built the same. I don't think my voice is the only voice that should be in this company, and it's not. People tell me all the time I'm crazy because I bring in other coaches. And they're like, why do you do that? Isn't there a chance they're going to fall in love during a 1-hour webinar with this other dude or chick or whatever, and they're going to want to go sauntering off into the sunset over there and not maybe buy your product? And here's the freedom of confidence. If you get to a place where your experience actually builds enough confidence in you, I'm not testing theories at this point. When I was successful in one market, I always had that idea that in the next kind of market, it might not work. And sometimes it didn't. And I had to pivot things and shift things. And then, of course, markets are cyclical. I can't tell you how many times I took teams through refi markets that dried up and had to teach them purchase tactics, only to turn that back to refi focus and then back again in 30 years. And when you do that enough in different markets and market volatility, you begin to understand that you're selling on a pliable platform. And I think the hard part about coaches or coaching is it can be very limiting. If you have one product, one voice, one thing, people are going to get sick of that. So I built a company for scaling. And so, in short, shut up here, I will say, I felt like the greatest challenge I had in building a coaching company, and I knew there'd be a lot of noise behind the scenes, of which has been repeated to me from the day I opened. And I knew all my career I had the same voices. You know, the first chapter in my book, Wise Eyes, is avoid the noise. I believe the number one step to success is drowning out all the naysayers that are going to tell you you can't do something. So,
This
you
one?
know, yep, that book right there. Yeah, I say avoid the noise, because if I had listened to my internal voice, to other voices, anytime on the path, I wouldn't have come to where I am. So when people were saying November 1st of 2018, when I ran 8 full-page ads in all the magazines that said, ready or not, here I come. That's all it said, and a picture of me and my website. And so it was it made people want to click on the website because it wasn't a wordy ad. And it was just like, who's this chick in the leather jacket with her arms crossed? And then the rest is history. I knew everybody was going to be like, okay, let's see, you know, I think people thought when I got to like 25 students, I'd be maxed out. And I left this very expensive or wealthy job.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I'm going to tell you, I'm in like act 2 of a 20-act play right now. And, you know, stay tuned, because, you know, we're going to continue to grow from here. But anyways.
Well, that's like, if we stand on the scene, like, well, like, should I do that? That's kind of like what I've been thinking about for all the Vonk Digital community. Like, I just, from talking to you, I know that your student base is very broad. You know, it could be the individual LO, it could be a team, it could be a giant corporation with hundreds of LOs. So, like, is there a difference on what you get? Like, how does that even work? So if I'm just watching this, like, how do I know that I even fit into 2020?
Yeah. So I built a city called 2020 Vision for Success Coaching. And I basically built, you know, the barber, the grocery store, the restaurant, and all of the things on Main Street coaching. And so what it looks like when you come down into our little city of 2020 Vision for Success Coaching, you are going to see that you can use any of the things on Main Street. And so I'll take it into our realm. We have virtual coaching. So I sat down, my chief marketing officer, Candy Zolkowski, is a 27 times best-selling author. She's the editor of my 3 books. I met her that way. And I said, would you come to work for me and like run my marketing department at 2020 at some point in our paths? You know, we're going to need graphic designers, and we're going to need social media people, and we're going to need, you know, internal marketing and media promotion and copywriting and, you know, all kinds of stuff. And she said, yes. So we began to design what my curriculum would look like. What I decided was that during any coaching that we would ever do, that there would come a path where the professional would tell us their problems, of course, when we started out.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there might be similarities, like some people are time management, some people are sticking to a plan, some people want to prospect more. And so there's the basic, like if you polled 2,000 loan originators and said, what's your problem? You're going to have 10 trended answers. And so, of course, there's the principle-based training. But I thought back over my career, and I thought what was missing in my mind was, I want to, you know, this company needs to solve to a problem, and it also has to cover a missing need in our industry. And so I think NMLS does a great job of educating loan originators on guidelines and preparing them to be compliant, but there is no school that teaches people how to run a business. And so the curriculum we've built is, it could literally, if you decided you were going to be a shoe designer, or you were going to run a 7-Eleven, or you wanted to open your own coffee shop, you could take our courses, and it would literally start you from a place where you'd build a business plan, and then you'd build the foundation of all the pillars of a business. You would learn what marketing looks like, making those plans, learning the ROI. You would learn how much networking needed to be done. You would learn about the efficiency of prospecting. You would get certified in time management.
Mm-hmm.
And then from the pillars, we would then invite the people to come. It would be like, I built the store, I opened the doors. And so for originators, we are foundationally looking at their businesses from those aspects. Like, what have you done to fortify your origination business? Are you operating efficiently with all these things considered? So when they get past the first 90 days of curriculum, they move on to more intricate and more intricate. And where we really beat our competition is where we take the originators from there, because it's 2020 And the evolution goes into social media and then beyond into media, mainstream media, where, you know, videography and those things need to happen, where you need to understand the algorithms, where you need to get active, where you need to convert monetarily on social media. And so the journey for the originator begins with the principle-based entrepreneurial scaling, and it takes them all the way through. The interesting part of this is that is one shop on Main Street for us, is the virtual training. It also has social media content curation. It also has a reading library, which of course is a big part of being positive. But then over here, it has a coach's den that has a menu of coaches. So I have 8 other coaches that are experts in 8 areas. It also has a planning and accountability coach where you check in, you fill out your whole forecast for a year, volume, income, units, and leading metrics, your activity metrics. And we have people that are not only training you on what that looks like, but riding along with you for the year, and you're checking in over there. It's kind of like getting weighed in. And then there's a live webinar community that's happening of other industry icons that are coming in. And so you're doing that. And then you're also meeting in mastermind groups. So it sounds like a lot, but here's what I want to tell you is we put you through orientation. We take you down Main Street. We show you all the things that you have
Like
under
downtown
the hood.
Disney.
Yeah, like Disney, downtown Disney. And then we say, here's your band, you know, comparing it to the Disney metaphor, go where you want.
Yeah.
And so if you want to ride, you know, Space Mountain 6 times and go nowhere else in the park,
yeah,
you can do that.
Yeah.
You know, we have like the staples we teach you are your musts. You know, if you choose independent coaching where you're doing one-on-one, there are people here at my company that are ensuring we know this moment there is a spreadsheet that I know that I can go to that lives on a living drive. And I know where every single person that's coaching with us last coached, who with, and a summary of that coaching experience from the coach. And I know when they're next coaching. And so we have handlers that are ensuring the students are, you know, doing what they need to do. At the same time, this is my mantra to my culture inside the corporation. Coaching should not feel cumbersome. If you wake up today as a hectic LO, you have to remember I was that person. So I really do have an empathetic coaching style to the person that's coaching with us. We are the physical trainers. They bought the gym memberships when they come here. But here's what we don't do. Physical trainers don't drive to your house and say, let's get off the couch and do sit-ups.
Right.
You still got to get in the car and drive to the gym to get your physical training workout. And so while we're here and we're your physical trainers, you know, if you wake up one morning and you have scheduled coaching today, you know, there's hardcore coaches out there that are like, if you skip your, you know, the Marine Tactical, like you're messing up. My attitude is this is your dime and your time, and our time's valuable too. But if today's not right because your mental EQ isn't right, or some deal got blown up that's more important, then just reschedule. You know, you're going to schedule out, schedule back in. And so we have this thing like we are here and we will make you great. And we do make people great. Like we measure their progress. We are here to turn out champions. But really it's whatever they want to plug in. We are the Cheesecake Factory. They can order as much as they want off the menu and they can eat as little as they want. Ending community culture, I think we're the one to beat in the industry.
Yeah.
I think that there's a camaraderie here. We have mastermind groups, and these guys are proud of our brand. They're proud to be members of this coaching organization. They see the results. They see that I'm serious about them getting the results. It's not just fluff. Like it's not about posting that I'm part of it. It's really about doing the work. So yeah, anyways, you can see I have a passion. I go on and on.
No, I think it's great. I think that was one thing that like drew me towards your business is there's so many different learning styles too. And
yes,
as a business owner many times over now, like as you go through your career, it could be an originating, it doesn't matter. Like you said, like the fundamentals are all the same. And depending on where you are in your journey, there's going to be like skill levers you need to up your game in, and they're not always the same. So the fact that you can go in there, like for me, I do a ton of coaching as well. For myself, I don't coach people, but I have coaches specifically for marketing, just staying up on trends and direct response and how, like almost like psychology basically.
sure.
But one thing I've noticed is that especially in an online platform where you can get the lives, you get the onlines, there's reading. Like I go through phases even in my own
Yeah.
life where I'm like, I just want video for the next month, or I
Yep.
don't, now I'm into reading, or now I just want the lives, or I don't care about this piece, like you said. And I think that's what, like, that really drew me to wanting to, if we're going to promote another company at Vonk Digital, which we rarely do, I have to believe it. Vinny has to
Mm-hmm.
believe it, right? Like,
Yep.
this is, that's the whole point. It's like, how do we know we have a base of people that are career originators that want to level up and be great, and they know the industry's changing right now. So they're, I mean, it's funny because our industry is almost like that, has that shiny ball thing really bad. I know I'm bad at it. I want all the new gadgets. I want all the new tools. And I think there's a hunger right now for people to just know, like, what should I be doing?
Yeah.
Like with the fintech money, now there's so many vendors, like there's so much stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, I mean, the EQ, we are like, our tagline is emotional awakening through education. So there's a big EQ mindset facet to our coaching. But I'm going to tell you, I don't know how you could have gotten as a coach through what we just went through for the last 60 days if you were not economically aware of what is happening and being able to guide, the teams. I'm really proud of who is attracted to our coaching company, because we have giant originators and executives and
mhm,
large companies that plug our training in. And, just, we have the media guys, we have chief editors of magazines.
yeah,
It's not just originators. The community is rich, robust. We have compliance executives. We have leading women. Our women's division, Women with Vision, has, last year we named 54 of the highest ranking women in the banking industry. And those women are with us and pouring their power into getting results for the females that are coaching with us. And so just, I am even in awe 2 years into, like, the amount of attraction there is to this success brand that I hoped would shine a light on people and make them want to do better than they had done. And so it's a wonderful feeling that the 8 coaches that I chose are executive level elite coaches, and they
yeah,
all have different aspects. So yeah, to your point, we studied what makes people quit coaching, and we're clear when we start. We have an application process, and so we want your commitment. So the one thing we ask from you, it isn't just, can you pay your monthly dues. It's truly, we are not thirsty to just get bodies over here. We are so much, we took our time. People have to apply, they have to be interviewed and then
mhm,
accepted here. So there's a
mhm,
process that. And I think that makes it a little more tantalizing than the guy that you can just write a check for and go get coached by, because we are careful that we don't want people that won't be committed. And so I want to be clear on this. We have taken people who are at the beginning of their career that have no historical data on their volume, with a high level of commitment proven through the interview and application process. That's our guy, the hungry guy.
mhm,
Um, we've taken veterans who have plateaued at enormous numbers but want to get to the next level and are looking for the breakthrough. And they really just need that next level of accountability. So I think that, I think literally the community does more for me than any one thing within my product line. Like, I think what they do for each other, when I sit back, I could be scraped off the ceiling in a meeting when I'm watching my master's group, which is year 2 of your coaching. These guys are focused on, the tagline for the masters is media marketing, influence, image, and prestige. Most people that invest in coaching will eventually move those dollars over to PR and marketing monies. And because we built a marketing division that supports them to graduate into that, where they can get videography editing and they can get those sorts of things, we don't have the backdoor runoff at the end of year 1. And then those guys begin to work harder together. And listen, they're wearing different, this is like the NFL all-star game,
yeah,
because they're wearing different shirts and they're helping each other. I saw the most tender thing occur a week ago when we had our monthly masters meeting. There were a couple executives that had lost their high ranking positions. This group's been in a mastermind group for a while, and there's a lot of them. And it was a meeting where I sat back and I watched them, because it's true masterminding, where they're sharing what's going great, where they're also sharing their struggles, and they're trying to solve to each other's problems.
Yep.
And I just, like poetry in motion, watched this group help each other, and just a real spirit of entrepreneurship. They are playing for different teams, but
Yep.
they feel each other's businesses and each other's, and I just love it. In my day as a person in this field, in this industry, I have not seen that type of cross sharing occurring between different brands. And so anyways,
That
we
that
think we're onto something big.
that's I mean that's like the I think that's like the hidden value in programs like yours, like that Illuminati style mastermind access to like real players that are doing this stuff. Like
Yep.
you can't, it's like, what are you, the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with, like just the access to people in other markets. Or I mean, at the end of the day, there's so many loans out there that, like, even if they're in your market, there's value to sharing and best practices. And I think just the connection is priceless, to be honest with you. Like, if I would be shocked if people that are successful in your business don't just stay for that community, in the
Yeah.
long run, because
I think it's going to
there's
be
so
the
much
glue.
value.
I really do. We're attracting, coaches from other coaching firms now that are like, calling us up and saying, we want to come in. And so I'll be careful to just say, I've learned the hard way through years and years. I'm older now. My ego was giant 20 years ago. People argue it still is. And, I would say that there's so much example needing to be set on promotional. People want to work with experts. I teach all professionals that you have to exploit your expertise. You have to share your testimonials. You have to share your wins. People
Mm-hmm.
want to ride with winners.
Yep.
And so, of course, we are the platinum standard of that
Yep.
example. And so I think, it's really, this moment in time is very humbling. My act in the last 30 days has taken me, into the harsh waters of the people in this industry that have fallen out of the boat, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
We had non-QM teams here that did not survive this last couple of months
I
of the
know
economic,
that's
and it's
horrible.
heartbreaking. And so, it's truly about rolling up your sleeves and being there to help people through whatever it is that, they're going to go through. But it's certainly rewarding. It's very, very rewarding.
Yeah, I think it's great. I think it's great. Um, so everybody here at Vonk now, they're I'm picturing them saying, okay, what do I do now? Like, how do I learn a little bit more? It's tough because I've seen behind the curtain. I've
Yeah.
seen behind the proverbial, like, curtain of Oz and into your
Yep.
back end, and I think it's awesome. But
Yeah.
for all the curious people that are watching this, like, what
Yeah.
do I do next if now
Yeah, come talk to us, is what we tell you. Like, because we teach sales tactics, we're really not spammy,
yeah.
interestingly and authentically not. We truly believe that if you're going to call us to look under the hood, let's get serious and show you the engine type of thing. So what we do is we have you email us first. Our email is info@visionyoursuccess.net. That's INFO, info, short for information, info@visionyoursuccess.net. You can also visit
I'll
our
put that right
website.
here.
Awesome. Perfect. So on the bottom of your screens, and you would just write, would like a demo, would like more information, whatever you want to write the subject line as. And if you want, you can go to our website, and we do have a coaching application, and that doesn't commit you to anything. It just basically puts you into the sales funnel as well, where you are telling a little bit of your story before you even get to us. So we do know it'll ask you, have you ever coached before? If so, with who? Tell us what your job is, what's your job title. If you're a loan originator, it'll ask like production questions and things like, are you new? Have you been
Mm-hmm.
doing it a long time, etc. And so our website is www.visionyoursuccess.net. Very easy.
Yeah.
Lots of pages. So take your time, peruse around, tons of testimonials, videos over there. There is a coaching page that when you go on it, at the bottom has the application, and you can get right into queue. Again, there's no commitment with the application. It really just means that you're going to be scheduled into our schedule. You may end up speaking to one of a few of my business development managers where they learn a little bit more about you. And it is highly likely that you're going to talk to me directly before you actually get contracted in. And I'm going to tell you this. You'll be shocked because of everything we just described, how affordable we are. We do subscription-based tuition that lasts 12 months. And if you wanted to get out before then, you could, but we haven't had that happening at all. I mean, that sincerely, which is great. But yeah, like I'm telling you, I know what's out there and I know how much it costs to have a coach. And we beat those prices like 90% of the time. And so we are built to scale even. So if everything you just heard sounds like really magnificent, you're going to fall in love when you realize that the price tag is not ridiculous and that you can get all this power for a price that truly is affordable. And so anyways, you know, I know I sound very spammy, but
I don't
I'm
even
just
think
honest.
I don't think you're going to have a hurdle with price with this community,
Nope.
especially once they see everything. That's kind of a given, you know.
Yep. That has not been our issue. It also, I think, keeps people from having to quit when things might, you know, if you have a bad month or something. Because, you know, again, if it's really, really expensive, we don't want to be in that position to be the first thing you're lopping off in a tight month. You know, and again, our commitment is for the long term, and we want the same commitment from the people that are engaging with us. So
Yeah.
anyways, we challenge them not to quit, you know?
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for hanging with me today. I think this was awesome. It was good to spend some time with you and catch up. Before I let you go, what would you say the number one question you get when people are talking with your team or yourself about going from should I do this to just when they're in that phase of like deciding if it's the right, like coaching is the right fit for them? Is there a question or two questions that jump out at you that you get a lot that we can answer for the viewers now?
Yeah. It's so funny because in the process of figuring themselves out, most originators, most professionals that are making the decision to coach will ask the question, the type of questions that they ask allude to us, whether they're internally trying to figure out whether they should commit to it or not. People that are ready to receive committed coaching typically show up, especially those that are experienced at coaching. They will ask the semantics of what we provide.
Yeah.
The people that are kicking the tires or maybe new to coaching will have a conversation that is more like, you know, how much time am I committing and how much, you know, is, you know, all those type of semantical type things. And what I say to people is, you could spend 8 to 10 hours a month on our coaching system if you did everything we offer in a month, attending live webinars and all of that. You could do as little as 2 hours a month. So we're talking an hour every other week,
Yeah.
and get a ton out of it by doing your virtual training and attending your one-on-one with your coach. And so I really feel like the biggest question is the commitment question. And we turn that right back around like a mirror and we say, what do you want to change? Because I'll use this last analogy, and I think it's a really poignant one. People, 90% of people will set a business plan in January, New Year's resolutions, and they are happy to have the Weight Watchers program where they're weighing in. But the novelty of the plan and the check-in, so think about that. That's the plan and the accountability. And those are two really important pieces to change and development and acceleration and growth.
Yep.
And it's great if you want the plan and make the plan. And it's great if you ask for accountability and get accountability. But the change comes beyond both of those points. So I want you to think about what commitment means to me as a coach. The change comes when you emotionally tell me why you want this change. Because if you say, I just have been riding along doing X amount for 10 years and I'm watching all these people fly by me and I don't know what I'm doing wrong, or I can't get to that next level. Maybe you're going to say, my sons are 12 and 13 and I can already tell they're just magnificent, you know, kids, they're good students, and I want them to go to the best colleges.
Yeah.
And I want them to pick where they want to go without having to be on a budget. And I would say, okay, that's what I need to know. Because when you get sick of coming on Saturdays for your Weight Watchers weigh-in at
Yeah.
2020 Vision, and when your business plan begins to fade and the reason you started, if we understand your why, we will remind you that of what that is, and we will help you remember how vital it is that you continue with us to go on. And if that doesn't work, which it always works, by the way, to
Yeah.
remember that why, that's work that you have to do. You have to put the stakes in the ground when we start coaching. And our blueprint for this, for success, by the way, takes you, the very first course you do, takes you through the journey of self-awareness with that part. And you drive those stakes into the ground like they are, you know, your life depends upon it. And I think that's why we have such a huge turnout of success, is we really understand that third piece is what is going to make you drive to the end. And believe me, we are there when you cross that finish line to celebrate and to just stop in that moment of milestone. And we see it happening every day here with people that are so excited. They're texting our staff and saying this occurred or that occurred that they've been trying to achieve. And that's truly what we're trying to do as an organization. So
Awesome.
yeah.
So the homework for today for everybody is to revisit your why before you get on the
Yeah,
call with
that's right.
Christine and the team. Thank you so much. This is awesome. It's fun. Good
Yay.
seeing you. And
Thank you. I'm so
talk to you
excited.
soon.
And thank you to all of you out there.
Awesome. See you guys.